Today we're talking more about the dwarves with Mike Merles and what makes them unique in the D&D multiverse.
Dwarves kind of have a little bit of an arrogant streak because this is something they'll always get to hold over the elves. If you have a dwarf and an elf who are really conversant in their myth, and we accept that these stories are what actually historically happened. Dwarves get to say, we were created by our god. Our god wanted us to exist because he sculpted us, literally breathed life into us, and let us out into the world. We are his children in the sense of we were created with purpose to emulate our god. And that's why dwarves are really creatures of toil. They love to work. To dwarves, life has purpose. You're born, you have a vocation, you fulfill that vocation. Your vocation could be metalsmithing. It could be warfare. You could be, my vocation is to be a soldier, to protect the clan, to protect the stronghold. But every dwarf has a purpose. And that's really where that lawful element comes in, being lawful good, as the typical dwarf. We think of the stereotypical dwarf, they're lawful good. They're good in the sense of they care about the community, they care about other creatures, and they're lawful in the sense they have a very strong sense of order. If dwarves existed in the modern world, they would be the people who really obey etiquette. If you gave them a gift, they'd always send you a thank you note right on time. They're very orderly, and they say this is how we do things. And they kind of have a point because they say, to a dwarf, well, this is how we do things because this is how Morden taught us how to do it. And Morden is a god, and one does not normally tell gods to sod off, right? You do what the god tells you to. But they do it out of a sense of love. Morden did it being a good god. You can imagine a lawful evil god would do it to keep someone in line. A lawful good god does it because Morden looks on his children and says, this is what's best for you. And I really mean that. I'm not just saying that because I want you to act this way I'm saying, because if you follow my dictates, you will be safe, and you'll be happy, and you'll be fulfilled. And dwarves are generally fulfilled by long hours of hard work. To them, it satisfies a very primal need in them. And that's why you get this sense of dwarven citadels being these enormous, they always adding to them, always building. A dwarf isn't satisfied just in an environment that is just static. They always want to improve it. They always want to add to it. They always want to grow. They want to prosper. They're really probably the most driven of the folk. But at the same time, that points out the fundamental contradiction that underlines dwarves. Dwarves build kingdoms, but unlike humans, they're not conquerors. They don't rule vast swaths of land. Because at the end of the day, while dwarves like order and they like work, they like works that exist on much smaller scales. A dwarf wants to improve her skills. She wants to become a better metalsmith. She wants to become a more skilled warrior. There are dwarves who rule. Dwarves have kings and queens and nobles. But being a lawful good, the children of a lawful good god, and having societies that exhibit lawful good traits, they see their leaders as being more caretakers. A good dwarf king looks after his people and wants them to prosper. He doesn't have ambition. He doesn't look across from the highest point on his dwarven citadel and think, wouldn't it be great to conquer the area around us? To what end? You'd be risking the lives of the dwarven warriors. You'd be pulling the dwarven smiths away from their actual work to maybe produce weapons or armor or to fight. It just wouldn't compute to the dwarves. They are very happy being left alone to pursue their calling. That's what they want to do. A dwarf metalsmith would be very happy if she could spend her entire life doing nothing but getting up in the morning and working on metalsmithing and becoming better at it and producing more and more beautiful goods. Now, the one exception to that is family, the clan, child rearing. Dwarves also see it's incredibly important. The family is very important to them. That the one thing that does override their sense of pride in their craft is their pride in their children. That their marriage is very important to them, having children, sustaining the clan, ensuring the line continues. Because it's not only just a legacy of, if I'm a dwarf and I'm a metalsmith and I have my skill, but it's also the skill I then hand down to the next generation, who I then guide and hope that with my guidance and my example, they bring their skills up even farther. They become even more skilled. They surpass what has been done in the past. To dwarves, one of the worst things that could happen to them is if they lost a secret. If the dwarves knew how to shape adamantine and lost that secret, they desperately want it back, because to them that's we're losing ground. And in many ways, what the dwarves want to, what drives them is they want to live up to the talent and the skill showcased by their creator. And then the other deities in the Dwarven pantheon that also set specific examples. Morden is essentially, he's the best at everything, but there are other dwarves who showcase very mastery of specific skills that the dwarves emulate. It also shows why, similar to the orcs in some way, the orc society is very driven by religion. If you had an orc raised away from orc society, it could just be whatever. They just grow up and be whoever they want. Because so much of what they are when we think of them, and traditionally how we deal with them in the world of D&D, is driven by how their society is shaped by their religion, and how their religion is shaped by their direct relationship with the creator deity.
Thank you, Mike Merles, for being on D&D Beyond. I'm Todd Kenrick. Thank you for watching.